Crissy Eliashar. How is your writing across curriculum going? I know it's almost TELPAS, and I get pretty common questions about how do we get them to elaborate. I'm getting really insufficient writing. It's a problem. And I sympathize, and I'm no expert, but I wanted to give you a few ideas that might help you. In a nutshell, the writing process that we need to model and take the kids through is to brainstorm with them, to write with them, and to share student samples in real time. We have a benefit of being able to do that with Go Formative, and I'll show you real quick how I do it. And then we can talk about what details or evidence is missing to help make their essay more clear. I think that sometimes we hope that they can just start writing, but some of us and some of our students really need to think about it, to pre-write, to brainstorm, to think about what is my purpose, what is it supposed to look like in the end. So sometimes that pre-writing stage takes a little longer than we may expect. And just putting the pen on paper, as it was, even virtually typing, just start writing something is easier said than done for some students. So having that model, having you model with them and having you write with them is really helpful for some of our students, especially those TELPAS 504, those kids that struggle with this. So here's an example. I'd given them a choice. I believe in giving students a choice in writing. It takes a lot of the pressure off and gives them a little bit more manipulation with something they're comfortable or feel like writing about. So sometimes that is one thing that can really help. Another thing is, do you have something you can reflect back to? We call that a mentor text in ELA. And if you're asking them to write about a procedure in science, can you point to something that they just read and are familiar with? That would be a mentor text that helps them understand where their product is going and how it's supposed to look and how it's supposed to sound. So here's the draft, or here's the prompt that I modeled with my students here. I write an expository draft. You could tell me how to do something. That was, this is really straight from the TEAC. It's not very related to the lesson they were doing in class. So I modeled this one with them, even though it sounds pretty straightforward. Sometimes just choosing what to write about. What am I supposed to write? How to do? So sometimes that is brain bending for students. The nuts and bolts of it, we're hoping that our students make a claim and support the thoughts with specific evidence. That's the big goal, whether it is for math, science, ELA, or social studies. We're really trying to get them to make a claim and support it. So how to do that? I actually write with them. So some students in my advanced class, they don't need it. Some of them do. Some of them are still 504 and they just struggle. There's like a brain block on this. And so I tell them, if you want to go to the WAC room and write right away, and you don't have to listen to me jibber jabber. But if you want, here I'm going to think about, what would I write a how-to? So I just start writing, because sometimes just putting things on the page is better. How to, oh, you know what? My daughter, her name is Mayan, is turning 2. So her second birthday party has been on my mind, and I could write a how to throw a birthday party. So what are some things that I've been thinking about? I have to decide a theme. I have to decide who to invite. Look at, I'm misspelling. That's totally fine. Kids like to see that. Invite. When is it going to be? Where is it going to be? I'm going to have to think about all this stuff. Okay, so I've been thinking about her birthday party, and I decided to do a tea party. She's 2, and she's my only girl, so of course. Invite, well, my mom is Mama D. Look at that, I'm already starting to get details in there. She's the one that pushed me to do this whole thing. I was going to have a nice little home party, and now we're going to have a thing. I'm going to invite all my friends, see, I'm misspelling again, and their kids. So I think when I counted it up, it's about, it's like 4 adults and like 20 kids, because we all have a million kids. And going to have it at the house, prepare inside. All right, so I've got some brainstorming going. I need to think about the how to host a birthday party. So then I got to put some order in there. So you can see my thought process is kind of going back and forth. It's still right here in this pre-writing. I'm trying to get any ideas down. Some of our students really struggle and they can't even choose a topic, and then they just kind of let their brain spiral, and I totally feel for them. So we gotta just push a little bit harder, push with example, and for the love of all things, maybe they will write about a time that they went to a party or they hosted a party or anything in the same galaxy, as long as we get some writing. So then I like to transfer over, once I've got a good bunch of ideas posted. Some students who are really struggling, I might even get them to draw or find some snips from online just to get those thoughts going. This is when I like to switch over. Let's see if I can do it with this. I switch over and in real time, I want to see what students are writing. You probably have noticed you can have the students' names hidden, and I love it. You can see in real time. So here's what I do. I like to look and say, oh my gosh. Oh, of course you're writing about Minecraft. You silly. Oh my gosh, how funny. How to wash a dog properly. What a great idea. First, I like that you're using those time words. I forgot to do that in mine, and it really helps keep it organized, doesn't it? First, you must brush the dog's hair, the knots. Oh, that you even included this detail about knots and how it makes it harder to wash and irritate their skin. That's a fantastic detail I didn't even think about. That's a good one, even though the spelling is a little off. That's not our job. That's not our concern at this stage of writing to worry about. And it's certainly not, it's one of the rules of TELPAS, in fact. So this one, you can just kind of tell how long they are. My goodness, that one is going to be a well-supported essay. Here's one that might be a really good example we might see on a TELPAS student. For people who are wondering how to make a comic, don't fear. Here are things to do to make your comic. Wow, what a great idea. This kid has got great voice in his writing. One, make a script. Aha. If you make is it script or strip? I'm not sure. Let me see. If you make a strip, you will know what to draw, but you won't make too many mistakes on your strip. 2, get ink. Oh, okay. Then you need to ink your comic, but first with a pencil, then ink. How many comics do you want to make? Good job. Man, I like this process and this idea of comics. I wonder if we can add a little bit more maybe punctuation to help me know when to slow down what I'm reading, or maybe some spaces to help me better organize the steps of the comic. I think this is a really fantastic start, and I love seeing students make comics. What about this one? Oh my gosh. Come on. What a great start. All right, you're going to tell me how to make a sandwich? Sure. What happens if you get to the sandwich, to the bread, and there's just the end of the bread left? Do you use that? What happens if you get to the fridge and there's no mayo? I want you to tell me a little bit more about this. What kind of meat do you use? Have you ever had an experience where the sandwich making didn't go as expected? So looking with the students and actually responding in real time, you can have students do it too. This should be really positive, and of course I'm never trying to call out anybody for doing poorly, but I am trying to build these. How to make a good grade. You make notes from the lesson you did, study them, take the test. This is not sufficient. This isn't going to work for WAC or for TELPAS, and this is what I'm left with. Tell me more. What is a good grade? Is 85 a good grade? My mom wants 95s. All right, I made an 85. Now what do I do? Try to bring it back and give them some specific ways to work to elaborate that. All right, so, but you can see I struggle mightily as well. So that brings me to, let me readjust the screen here a little bit, some elaboration ideas. I know this is what we're all trying to get them to do, so if you share that screen with them and share their writing, then you can start to use some of those elaboration stems, like put in some text evidence. If that happened, if you go to the bread and there's just ends, what do you do? Can you tell me a story of a time that you scored low on your exam and then you discovered your way of studying was the best way. So trying to bring those elaboration examples in. I also wanted to just share real quick the tell-pass rules. We are trying to push them, of course, I know. So out of the comfort zone writing is important so that you can see those different levels. Not something that they've rewritten over and over. I'm sure you wouldn't do that anyway, but seeing those spelling mistakes are what we're looking for that we have in my examples. And just a reminder, we can't rush them. We can't have them copy, which is, I think, historically been a really big struggle for us. We can't have them copy language. So check that your prompt allows them to not write in such a narrow way that they feel like they have to copy. What else? We can't correct or comment, right, or make them change something. They're just giving us their best effort, but we can offer those elaboration statements to try and keep pushing, keep writing. Boom goes the dynamite. Now you're a writing teacher. I hope this helped. I know I blathered on. Please keep your questions coming and let me know if I can help or any of your WAC points of contact can help in any way. We're also struggling with the same thing, but I hope a few of the ideas might be of benefit.